But the goal was never to turn this into a business or a YouTube channel or anything like that. The goal is to be a Fortune 500 executive. But what ended up happening right before I ended my university life is a lot of the people I was coaching in university kept asking me a question that I didn't have the answer to. And the question was, how did you learn how to speak? Brenden, how did you learn it? You didn't have a coach. You didn't do Toastmasters. How did you do it? And I kind of just said, like I just practice, and I got it. But they would always reply with, but did you like listen to YouTube videos? And that's when I stopped and I thought, who watches YouTube videos on public speaking? So a few days before I started working at IBM, this is many years ago, like 2.5 years ago, I just started watching all of the YouTube videos on the topic. And I was horrified by what I was hearing. All the advice was so general, like, Christian, you should like be yourself and get up on a stage. So I got so fed up with it that I started making videos in my basement, which ended up turning into what it is today.
That is remarkable, man. And to see that trajectory, and tell me a little bit, obviously, the impact that you've been able to help, and tell me a little bit of some of the stories that some of the top executives that you've been able to help because, maybe clarifying that message or being able to just dial in their tonality or their monotone, whatever it is. Just tell me a little bit about, how you've been able to make an impact because of the struggle that you went through and to working with other entrepreneurs now.
Absolutely. And the advice I always share on this, Christian, because, even if a lot of your audience is very successful already, there's always an angle about our lives that we have some insecurity around. So even if we're really good in our businesses, there might be another area like our health, like something else where you go, I'm not really comfortable in this area. How do I get better? And myself included, by the way. So the advice I always share on this is always start with the people you're comfortable serving. So for me, when I started Master Talk, I probably started coaching C-suite when I was around 22, 23. But of course, you can imagine that sounds cool, but it really wasn't at the beginning because I was coaching individuals who had worked in the organizations longer than I was alive. So there's a lot of insecurity there. So what pushed me to do it? Well, what pushed me, Christian, was realizing the following. Wait a second. I was making the YouTube videos for the 15-year-old girl or boy who couldn't afford me. So I started coaching them. And then I moved up to people my own age, and then I moved up to people who were my age, and then after it was seniors and managers and directors and vice presidents, and now it's entrepreneurs and CEOs. But I think the message here is, yes, definitely been fortunate to have worked with some credible people, but I think the message for people is just focus on the people that you're starting with, and then eventually as you gain competence, this is where the confidence comes from. But the real problem with most people is they don't make the decision to start in any skill that they're uncomfortable with, and that's how we build experiences over time.
Yeah.